Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out. With your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, anti-daunting. Ahoy.
Ahoy!
It's the weekend for you.
It is, in fact. Surprise.
Things up a bit.
Gotta keep it fresh. Yeah, it's all good.
Like, first off, I didn't have internet at my office like I thought I was going to. And secondly, probably far more important, I did not remember my laptop. So
that's definitely a key ingredient in this
I had
whole...
my microphone, though. So that was all packed away.
Hey,
That.
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all right. I mean, yeah, just whatever. I'm the one with the least changey schedule, so I don't care. What's it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the schedule.
The same thing every day. It doesn't matter.
My schedule has been nothing but not changey. Very intense.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's all part of it. Driving.
True.
All part of it. We got some news about the car. It is not totaled.
Hey.
But
close, so it's worse maybe for you because
yes. As a matter of fact, it was right on the line.
Yeah, it's it's $300 away. Oh no, that's actually worse because they have to
pretty much. And, what I did find, so this is a 2005. I keep calling it a 2006. It is a 2005 Honda Accord hybrid. It is the first gen hybrid Accord that they made. Its battery was replaced in 2012. We bought it in 2015. They gave me the repair price, and they're like, "This is 70% of its value." And I looked at the repair price, and I went, huh. And so I did a little math, and I found out that 7 years ago we bought this car, and its value has not changed. given how much used car values have gone up. And that's insanity. That is the only reason why this car was not 100% totaled.
Oh man, stinking used car prices.
Right.
Sticking it to you when you're not expecting it.
Was so angry because it's used car market is great when you have a used car to sell. But now
not when you have a used car that's broken.
Yes. I could have they would have paid me a mere few $100 less than I paid for this car 7 years ago. If it had been totaled. So
just look at the mechanic and be like, yo, can you just
no, I did.
What's it worth to you to break something real quick?
I was like, can you check I don't know, something else? Go check something else.
Yeah, can you just mark down that something else is broken?
And here's the thing. Because I hit the exact size I hit the how do I say this? The optimally sized dog to damage it to the extent that I did, but not a mere measure more. Because if the dog had been taller,
it's a weird sentence. I'm just going to go ahead and say
ready
that.
For this? If the dog had been larger and taller, it would have slammed into my hood. I would have had hood damage.
Oh,
okay,
and windshield damage.
So
you're saying you should have hit a deer?
Yes. What you're saying. But because if the dog had been smaller, it wouldn't have had the mass to do the amount of damage that was done either. So this dog was perfectly sized to not damage my hood. My hood is not being replaced. Okay. My front bumper and grill are.
There's the couple $100 right there. There it was.
There are no headlights are damaged. Because it was just perfectly sized to slam.
Bro, one headlight would have been it.
My radio.
I would have pushed it over.
These are the things that I'm like, you could not have asked for a more perfectly placed hit. Because again, if it had been bigger, way more damage, this would have been total. Because then when we're talking like body panels and stuff, and that gets Ugh. But because it was like a plastic bumper and the front of the engine bay, they were like, oh well, this is no quarter panels are damaged.
And the radiator.
Yeah, the radiator. It's like, oh, well, okay. Fine. Just boom, right down the middle.
Should have kicked out the headlights when you were sitting there. Like,
so that was weirdly, whenever I called the insurance people to initiate the claim, they asked me very specifically, did your airbags deploy? Are the headlights broken? That was their second question to me.
It's very weird.
And I guess that's a measure of severity. Or how bad was the front end collision?
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. It's a very... I thought about that. I was like, that was a very quick and easy way to distill the severity of a head-on collision. When I said I slammed into a dog, that means that there's been a lot more crumple in the hood or a impact to a side panel. They immediately know if the headlights damage, there's going to be panel damage, there's going to be hood damage. They already puts them down the road, metaphorically here, a lot further than other question. And it's something that's going to be easy to recognize by somebody standing and looking at their car, because if they're going to say, is the hood, is the front quarter panel damaged? So people are going to go, I don't know, maybe it's I have no idea, but is the light broken? You can tell that immediately.
Yeah, that's true.
It was just a weird second question that I was not anticipating, but then the more
it's a weird second question,
yeah,
right? But it does make diagnostic sense, right? Like you said, that's a pretty recognizable thing to notice, especially you got to think too, you're calling your insurance person after some sort of traumatic event, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make this process simplified down and scaled down so that people that have just experienced a traumatic situation can grasp sort of what's happening. Because you said, after you had yours, you were like, oh, I should stop the car.
Exactly. Where I was like, oh, wait a minute.
It's your brain is not functioning properly after trauma like that, because it's trying to cope with things. So yeah, interesting.
Yes. So interesting, except in that it did not kind of arrive to the decision that I wanted. But what that means is, and because it's not total, it's not going to impact the title. So,
well, that's good, I guess.
It's going to be reported on a Carfax, most likely. But then the guy said usually they only report those if it involves another vehicle. To which made me think, oh my gosh.
I hadn't thought about that.
What kind of horrible things are happening to vehicles out there that I'm looking at? They're like, clean Carfax. It's like, well, no, actually, this could, as long as it wasn't totaled, this
especially in Missouri, right? How many of those cars have hit deer or cows, right?
This is my thought. So,
oh no,
yeah. So now I'm really super scrutinizing every used vehicle I'm looking at now. So I'm hoping, and because I don't have panels or things like that to get replaced, I believe that the repair should go by faster, because what I've been hearing is that body panels have been the major sticking point for repairs.
You remember that you had a car in the shop not that long ago with a transmission problem that was there for 27 years, right? So just let me
as long as they order the right parts. So we're assuming that. But that made sense to me, because the front quarter panel of a 2005 Honda Accord sedan pretty specific. I don't think they're using those on any other kind of car. But the radiator?
Yeah, radiator is like, okay.
Probably rebend, right? Yeah.
Or you can get, I think radiators are like, is it this size? Okay, bam. Like, whatever. It'll go in there.
Is it size for this engine, for this kind of, specs?
Like this,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like pulleys.
This like fluid volume or whatever, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think pulleys and belts are going to be.
Yeah, those are much more universal parts than
this. So I'm hoping that this kind of speeds it up a bit. But I don't know. We're in this. So
true.
I do miss driving it though. So I have the Toyota Corolla SE, and I have texted you my thoughts on the car.
Yes, listeners, my brother, for reasons, well, we know that he romanticizes cars way too much, but he has decided that the number one selling car in the world for the past like several years running is garbage. And everybody who has bought one is wrong.
Look, so my question is, that I have to ask is, what trim level did these people buy? Because
the stat just said Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, see this.
So I don't know. I don't think it was probably taking into account all trim levels.
Yes. Because if you had like the Corolla, what is it? I
don't even pretend to understand the differences in trim levels in cars because they're like so subtle that I don't. Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah. So I have the Toyota Corolla LE, which is the one step up from the base model. There are apparently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trim levels.
It's too many.
Doesn't up to 9, and you can figure up to 9 different configurations.
It's too many.
Oh my gosh. So this doesn't make sense, but I don't like any of these. The base model. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I'm sure that the Corolla like XSE Apex Edition, like the top of the line, probably rides a lot better. But here,
you got to imagine like that is not the one that's driving the sales, right? People aren't buying the top of the range one.
Okay, they're buying the middle of the range. Seriously,
probably. They're probably buying the middle and down, right? People aren't buying like the super duper toppity one, because if they're going to buy the super duper top Corolla, they're going to actually buy just the next level of car up. They're not going to go. They're not going to go like, you know what I mean, like that. So yeah. The problem with having 9 levels of trim, you run into the movie theater drink problem.
Yeah.
Right? You heard this theory where like the medium size is useless. They don't make the medium size for you to buy it. They make the medium size for you to look at the large and go, but that's only a little bit more. Right. And I'm getting so much more drink. I should go there. But like the problem with the car is you're not now like the super duper top Corolla model is pushing you to the next level of Toyota, right? Like whatever Camry, that is. Right? The Camry, right? You're just like, well, I could buy the Camry instead for like
if you
$2,500 more dollars. So like,
yeah. So I believe that mid-tier trim levels sell better than the base models, and I base this purely off of the used car market when I'm looking at car sales for resale of like, what do I find most often? Now this is just my cursory glance. Whenever I was searching for cars in Dallas and Arlington and Texas,
but that is a large metropolitan area, and listeners, you must know by now, if you've been following us for any time, that Collin all of his time looking at used cars. It's like his hobby, right? Like I look at like guitar things. Collin just looks at cars, like only. Like he's like
pretty much.
Just text me random screenshots of like car pages.
They're
like,
beautiful.
What about this one? Like, and it's the most random things you've ever seen in your life.
Like, so here's something that I do. So we're looking maybe like, okay, let's go look at a Toyota Tacoma. Just try and find a used bog standard Toyota Tacoma. It's almost impossible. What do you find for sale? The TRD Pros and the off-road and the sports and all those trim levels, those are what you find out there. You don't find the like base model with like cardboard. Like, don't find those for sale. Now, it could be because those people don't resell them.
That could be. They're still driving them.
Probably still driving. Still driving
right.
them. So, but anyway, regardless of that, I have not enjoyed the Toyota Corolla. Now, I will say it's fine. It's transportation. I need transportation.
Fine. True.
It's done. But when you just as an example, the visor, pull down. It is a meaty visor, right? Pull it down. When you flip it back up, it goes up with such force that it hits the roof, and you can hear the reverberations along the roof go behind you. Okay, so props to the spring and mechanism on the visor.
True.
But points lost for road dampening insulation on the roof. That's okay. That's what I'm talking about here. You can tell, oh, this is a less, high-end thing. So it's an LE. I'm not expecting the world here. I was just a little really taken aback when I sat in it, like, oh, okay, this is and standard car.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing right now. I have officially gone to the official Toyota website, and I'm trying to ascertain the difference between the two. Right, the base model is the L, which, first of all, Toyota, that's a terrible name. The LE, there is so apparently the key features that are highlighted in bullet points without expanding the thing, without clicking the more features, seems to be the LE has automatic climate control. It has an 8-inch touchscreen as opposed to the standard 7-inch screen, and remote keyless entry system, which
mine actually does not have.
Well,
I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe I just have. I have the.
Well, this is the 2022 one.
Oh, right.
I'm looking at.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the new one, and those differences will cost you a mere $300. Those are $350 difference. There's only a $350 difference between the L and the LE. So obviously, you're not buying the L, right?
Exactly.
Now, here's the real question.
So the L. Nobody buys the L because it's only $300 more. So the L is just out. Who buys the L? Fleet vehicles.
That's true. Oh, that's true. Yes.
So those are sold. Yeah, if you're a large corporation who needs company cars for your workers, you're going to buy the L, and you're going to
buy that one.
700 of those into production.
Yes. So it appears to go. I'm going to not. Okay, so the non-hybrid. I'm going to leave out the hybrid here. Okay, we're not going to count that one. But so the LE. Well, I'll put the hybrid in. I was going to go through the whole range real quick.
Okay.
The L. 20,425. Okay. LE 20,875. The SE 22,875.
You jumped $2,000.
So this one, now you have alloy wheels and I don't know, other things. I'm not going to read these whole spec sheets, but
sure.
Then it appears you go to the SE Nightshade Edition, which is blacker than the rest of them, apparently.
It is all
23,575. They put these out of order. See, they're messing with you. The hybrid is 24,050. The XLE is 24,825. The SE Apex Edition, which is not a good name because it's not the top of the range one.
Nope.
So why would you call it the Apex if it's still on the way up?
Because it's the Apex.
It does have lower sport tuned suspension though. 25.
Harder.
Yes, 25,570. XSE, again, terrible. 26, 325.
See?
And then the XSE Apex, so the Apex 28. 710, which is the weirdest ending hundreds number. Those are negligible. Like those do all not need to be there.
This is what I'm talking about. They're separated by
ridiculous.
They're separated by less than $2,000 a piece. So of course,
it's only $8,000 from the $8,000 from the top to the bottom.
This is what I'm saying.
Like,
okay, so is that so? If we exclude the L because nobody's buying that,
and so the Camry. Hold up, the base model Camry is 28.
See,
flat.
Yeah,
right.
And so
this is I was right.
So from the SE from the LE at 24 all the way up to the Apex, that's only a $4,000 difference.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, that was the Camry hybrid. The just normal Camry is 25.
Yeah. So see,
the base Camry that no one's buying is 20.
So because with that you could get the Apex edition that has bronze body kit and an 18-inch black flow formed wheels and lower sport tune suspension. I also
that's
when you started talking because I wanted to
say but like it's important.
This is what I'm talking about. It's stair-stepped in such a way that the one you're looking at never makes sense because the next one is just
enough better. You're like
$4 a month. So nobody buys like the lower half of this.
Yeah, and they're all the same. Like gas mileage, right? Yes. That doesn't seem to change. The engine sizes don't really appear to be that different, right? I didn't look at I did not go into the detailed spec sheet here of all these things because I don't have time for that. But that's ridiculous.
Pretty much the same, and so that's what I'm saying. Nobody's buying the vehicle that I'm buying because also the vehicle that I've got is from a rental car company.
Yeah,
they're not buying the nice fancy one. So it is not a pleasurable experience to accelerate.
They're not that rental car
in
company.
This vehicle.
Here you go.
It's whatever. So it is sufficing. Some nice features that I will say. So here's some praise that I will compliment.
Right.
It does have a feature that
feature. Call it one feature.
One feature. Okay. Two features. Well, okay, so I have one, and I have a complaint about another feature that I thought would be cool that actually isn't. So this is your hot take.
Enough.
As a parent, how do you know if your children have buckled into the back seat? You either
look at them.
Okay, yeah, you have to turn around and look at them, or you have to ask them. Neither of which end well sometimes. So
one of those is more reliable than the other.
Yes.
That's why.
So what the Corolla has is a feature that shows you, it's a little display that while you're in park, it shows 3 seats in the back. And if they're red, they're not buckled in. And if they disappear, they are buckled in. And it shows you that on the display. Just nice. Everybody just piled in. You just look there. As soon as the last one comes off, you know, okay, everyone's buckled in. We're ready to go. That's a cool feature. We'll say.
True.
Okay. The feature that I thought would be cool, that's actually horrible, is automatic high beam. Have you seen these?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. So when you're driving in the Corolla, you have your normal beam. You take the left stalk and you flip it forward, to which you think, I will now have high beam. No. You have high beams if it deems it appropriate for you to have high beams.
All right, that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
Now,
come on, car. Let me turn my lights on brighter.
There is a way to override this, but you have to click it twice. And if you just click it once,
you probably have to go into that 8-inch touchscreen menu and override and manually activate. Go to the secret submenu and activate manual bright headlight mode.
Probably, yeah, but it then will automatically turn on and off your high beams as cars come towards you, which is kind of that's interesting,
no,
right? I do not like this because I was going through a pretty super dark part of my drive home last night, and I was need high beams, and the car was like, "Do you?"
I do.
Really? let's see. And then like came on for a second, and then a car crested the hill, and they were like, "God, none for you." And I was like,
Yeah. Susan and I were reminiscing the other day about the headlight feature that is sorely missing from modern vehicles, and that is the bright to dim foot switch for the headlights. In my opinion, this is the superior way to activate your brights or your not brights, right? This is the best thing ever. I had that on my car a long time ago, and it was great. And Susan was talking about how her dad had that in one of his trucks or something. I don't remember exactly which one, but it was, she liked it very much as well. So that is a feature that I think is missing from modern cars that you need to bring back. It's just a little switch on the floor. You just like click it with your foot, and the high beams come on or off, but it's foot activated. That is the best way to do it, I think.
It's much more satisfying. Apparently, I have found an aftermarket way to install this into a car.
I mean, you probably can, because the switches were just like a big cap switch, right? Yeah. And it's like you could just run that to the thing, right? I imagine it's probably not the hardest mod you could pull on your car, right?
No. But I think I agree. It's much. What's your left foot over there doing anyway? Nothing. Now make it do something, make it work for you.
Yeah.
And then, because in the situations where you need brights, a lot of times
it's like raining, right? Like
you want to take your hands off the steering wheel. And sure,
exactly.
The little like flip forward thing, but sometimes you don't, like you're turning or you don't quite get it and you're missing it, you're panicked, just foot smash on floor until you hit it, right? I like that. Yeah.
I too. It's great. I love that thing.
Yeah.
It's a big old gnarly button. Bam.
Oh.
What trim level is that, Toyota?
Yeah.
What do I got?
Done for you.
Dang it.
Oh, I also learned, I had to look this up. In a Toyota Corolla, what is okay? There is a feature of a Toyota Corolla that I had no idea. Okay? Toyota Corollas have a B gear.
What?
Yeah.
What is a B gear?
Okay. So the shifter, park, okay, park, reverse,
okay,
neutral, drive, B.
Wait, that's the order?
Yeah.
Park, reverse, neutral, drive, B?
Or whatever it is. I don't remember.
That sounds wrong. I don't.
Whatever
I
it's
don't.
supposed to be. B is after drive. So if you take it from park and you slam it all the way down, you are in B.
Okay, so is that like the low?
Okay.
Is that similar?
Kind of. Right? B stands for engine braking.
What?
Okay.
Why?
I don't know why this is standard.
What an intriguing
on Corollas, but it stands for a brake in automatic gear. So it uses the transmission to brake specifically when you are either A, going through steep hills.
Okay, well that makes sense. If you're like if you are in mountainous terrain, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
So is that the thing where I saw some other car had this where you're pushing on the gas, right? And then like when you push off of the gas, it just starts automatically braking?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of automatically braking, but it's specifically used for like going downhill.
Yeah.
Also, it will also work in like uphill roads because there's resistance there. So you're under heavy loads, the engine works better. And then if you are towing with one of these, it's better for that.
Why are you going to what are you towing with a Toyota Corolla?
Another Corolla?
Let's be real. I'm not towing anything. It's on their transmissions they put in every car. So they're like,
It's very odd.
That's weird. I don't even find a use for the low, right? Like, I think I've used the low in the automatic transmission, like, twice in my whole entire life, right? That's not, it's not really a feature that you need. So you really don't need, like, low.
Yeah, I've used low or like forcing it into first gear when the roads were kind of slippery and I was trying to prevent it from shifting too fast, and I was wanting to.
Well, yeah, I did that. Like, so in the old in Cavalier, you could do that, right? It had like first, or maybe it was low. I don't remember, but I did that once. I think that might have what slightly broke the transmission, but like it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine. Don't tell Dad. It's okay.
Yeah,
like maybe, but and then in my Dodge, right? It was a different transmission in that and the Charger, so it was like it had like 1-2 drive, so it was only 3-speed anyways. It was like 1-2-3 blah. But it was like automatic, so you could like power shift it, right? So that was a little different too.
Yeah.
But these like normal cars, right? And like the Mitsubishi, right? It had that. It had like driving low.
Yeah.
I don't think I use low ever.
No.
I think maybe like one time. Okay, so like I was trying to go like somewhere and it was real snowy, like our road, Dad's driveway and the road are real snowy. I think I put it in low so that instead of drive, because it only had drive and low, so I think I put it in low when it was going like down the hill and it was snowy, so that it didn't like run away from me.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is the only time I've ever used it. And it was like that very specific criteria of like super wet, snowy road.
Yeah. So I had no idea what this thing was, and
I want to know who's pulling stuff with a Toyota Corolla.
I want to know who's doing this or whatever. Like I don't know. So that is something I learned, that they have a B gear that stands for like automatic braking of the engine, and this is bizarre, but now I know.
That's very odd. That's very odd indeed.
I've learned. So that's been my review of the Corolla.
Yeah. Bad. There we go.
Bad.
Not good.
Bad. So, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to get next. I don't know what's going to be.
We know it's not going to be a Corolla.
Not.
We know that.
But then I'm like, what do I need to drive like a higher model? But then I'm like, no. So
the Apex edition?
Apex. That's what I'm going to ask. They're sick and tired of seeing me, because I did go and I drove a used Tacoma and a 4Runner, and I was like, I don't know about
Yo,
these.
if the new 4Runner is based on the website I was just on, they are ugly. So I would
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not getting a new one. These are going to be like many years old.
That thing is disgusting. What are you doing? What is that?
Yeah, well, they modeled it after the Tundra,
which is a mistake.
Which I'm not there.
No.
So I'm kind of afraid of what they're going to do to the Tacoma, because I like the way the Tacoma looks. It just looks.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
I'll just go after.
Get the Collin's going for the random old car. He's going to get this square body Chevy. Yes.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's what we're going to do.
Single cab.
Yes.
Square body. Exactly what I need to do.
Perfect.
Oh. Yeah.
Kind
of maybe bring in a hot hatch. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, the Corolla comes in a hatchback. Just so you know,
it does. But
my friend actually has one. I think I've only ridden it like 3
really
times.
Well, on none of the hot hatch tests that I have seen.
Ah, dang it! Not big things, hatchbacks. They're not like Ford had one.
Yes.
I guess the Civic has one, but the new Civic hatchbacks look not nice, in my personal opinion.
They don't. The Golf GTI is still.
Oh yeah.
Is still decent. Don't get the Type R. Get the GTI.
No, Type R forever, because R stands for racing, obviously.
I did find a few Civic Type R's, and I was like, maybe that's family. It's a 4-door sedan.
It is a 4-door sedan. This conversation has reminded me, I can't remember the name of this YouTube channel that I watched, so I'm going to have to go back and see if I can find it again. But it's like these younger dudes, and they have like tuner cars, right? and they go on these like ridiculously long road trips in like the stupidest cars imaginable, like a built RX-7, right? Like he took some super long road trip, and one of the guys drove like his like 90s Mitsubishi Evo track car. Like,
oh, that's ridiculous.
I know, but it reminds me of this. So that like a lot of it was like them changing oil in a parking lot, or like
yes, that sounds like very good. And that's the other thing with this. I am trying to, like, I'm genuinely interested in test driving a Golf like GTI or something. Try to find one of those used that isn't.
Yeah,
like,
no. Not in the Midwest, right? That's not a thing that can happen.
Tuned to within an inch of its life.
Oh yeah,
like impossible.
Yeah, those get scooped up.
So, yeah, there's no such thing as an unmodified, even like Honda Civics. Like, it's just like, I just want or like Tacoma.
That's because aftermarket parts for Honda Civics are like no dollars.
Yeah,
like you can buy just any aftermarket part imaginable, and they're like not that expensive, right? You can just go to town and do whatever you want.
And even legal or otherwise, and it's
yes.
So
obviously, hold on. We here at the O Brother Podcast only endorse legal modifications. All right,
obviously, road safety first. So yeah, that's a great disappointment where I'm like, oh, look, here's one. Here's a 2015, and it's like, oh, there's no trunk. Why is there no trunk space? Oh, because it's a massive. That's where the nitrous system is. Next.
Oh yes. What's this hole in the hood? Oh, that's a turbo wastegate valve.
Yes.
Oh, dang
like,
it! What the heck?
Mind. Or it's like gaudy gold wheels.
Makes it faster, obviously.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, the hunt continues.
As always.
What's been keeping you occupied? Fine week.
Well, let's see. A lot at school, and then the big news. Spoilerinos here. Susan's mom's getting married tomorrow.
What?
Surprise! Oh boy, that's happening. So
cool.
Yeah, that's the thing that's happening. So that's the great drama in everyone's life currently.
Okay.
Won't go into too much, but the various stages of acceptance from family members of that transpiring is interesting. So
Good.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. That's happening tomorrow afternoon.
What a big piece of news to just
throw on you like that. Sorry, I didn't tell you about that sooner. Sort of slipped my mind before.
and then casually move on.
Well, like, I mean, it's like, I don't have,
I understand.
I don't have like big hot takes on this because it's, it's not my parent. So, like,
so that's exciting. Are they details of the bride and groom location?
It's at the church they've been going to, right? So they're doing that. They actually like went to high school together, right?
Really?
Yeah, and then so that's a thing. They both have lived around here their whole life, so they're just like,
okay,
it's whatever. For context, ladies and gentlemen, this is my wife's mother, so she's 85 years old. So this whole like whirlwind courtship scenario has just been the most confusing thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Because like witnessing a person be 85, like switch back and forth between acting 85 and like 13
like
is just a weird like it's like a weird like ping pong that your brain goes, wow, what is
aw, super cute.
It's very strange. So It's been hilarious. And, so that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, so we got to do that. Susan made their like little flowers. Their, what is it? Corsage and boutonniere. That's the other word for that.
Yes.
She made those today for them. So, yeah. We haven't really they planned everything. So like, we're just going. So like, I don't know. It's like,
just showing up.
Yeah. So
Well
tomorrow afternoon. So that means I had to like find wedding clothing to wear.
So sorry.
That's obnoxious, right? Like, oh man, I have to wear like nice clothes. I'm not into doing that. Like, I don't.
Yeah, pants.
I know. Like, it's all right. Sets off a string of things I have to do on the weekend, though. So, like the next, I don't remember when I have to go to another wedding at some point soon.
Oh, see, you need these things. You would have to find them at some point.
It's true. We've been invited to a former student's wedding.
Oh.
That'll be exciting. And then I think it's next weekend. I think I have to double check. We're going to a quinceañera. Oh yeah, kablam!
Wonderful,
big exciting times there. So it's just like celebration season apparently in the fall.
You'll be very busy.
Yes,
very full of delicious food.
Oh yeah, definitely. So more on that later, but
okay.
Yeah, wedding tomorrow. So we'll see. I don't really know. They claim it's not going to last very long, but Susan's nephew is marrying them, the same person that married us, and that took a long time. I remember. So I don't. He says it's going to be short, but he's a known liar. So we don't know.
So do you have like an emergency like pull valve, or how are you gonna?
Yeah, I don't know. What we're gonna do. Give him the signal, like, "Yo, what are you doing? Calm it down."
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear how.
It'll be interesting. So yeah, that's the big celebratory news. Weddings of in-laws. So that'll be interesting. I don't really know. It's going to be weird because like I don't know anybody. Like I only know like him, right? So it'll just be like, hey, here's all these random people. Like,
oh yeah,
cool. Like I don't.
Yeah, you'll find something to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the back and hide.
Good job.
Hiding.
First one out.
No, I can't do that because I think Susan would probably stab me. With something like throw candles at me or something like
corsage, probably.
Maybe corsage pin. Oh no, boutonniere pin to the sternum. Blam.
Well, good luck on that.
Yeah, so that'd be good, I think. So we'll just see how it goes, and I don't know. There's a parent like reception. That's gonna be the part that's gonna take 75 years because like her mom is all like, she says all these things like, oh, I don't want it to be a big deal. She does. Right. That's a lie. She's all like, I don't want it to be anything big. I don't want anybody to fuss over little old me. Lies. All lies.
But also, this better be perfect.
Yeah, right? Like,
I see.
So that'll just be amusing to watch, right? Like that part will just be kind of funny. Like
where they met.
Yes. Well, so that's the big goings on for tomorrow. Boom.
Joy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. That is probably important information that I should have shared.
It's very good.
Now.
Fine.
It was one of those things that seemed like it was weeks away until it was like, oh, that's tomorrow. Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah. You're like, oh. do something with this information.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like whenever we put together the retreat. Really didn't hit me that it was happening until I had picked up some of the participants from the airport, and then I was like, "Oh,
this is happening now." Oh no,
this thing.
How did that go, by the way?
Oh, it was amazing. So we had.
Right.
Yeah, we had. What do we have? We had eight people come in. We had representatives from North Dakota, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Kansas City, Missouri, and then we had 3 people. 1, 2, 3,
that one's like literally feet away from where you had it. So I was
she was like, when I found out you guys were doing this, and I was nervous where you were going to hold it, and then I realized, oh, it's 10 minutes from my house. I was like, you're welcome.
The winner is you. That's what.
Yeah. Wait. So who do we have? So we had that North Dakota, Wisconsin, North Carolina. We had that, and then we had a suite of people. Had three people from Florida attend.
Oh wow!
Which was kind of shocking.
Shocking, but
and so the whole premise of this was to just come together, present problems that you are dealing with, and so part of this was also an issue of going, okay, like I know a lot of people do deep thinking about their issues, but some people don't. And so we need to take time, like the first day, to just kind of identify what those are or identify what your pain points are. So the second day we could do a deep dive. And so the first day was a little awkward because like nobody knew what to expect and I didn't know what was going on. But
it's good when you're the conference organizer. Like, I have no idea what's happening. I'm just winging it.
Just kind of like dove right in. Thankfully, Megan was there to ask the obvious questions that I forgot to like mention. So
it's always the obvious ones you forget, right? It's always that one.
Yeah, that's fine. And so we went through that, and then the second day we woke up. We like went to did a yoga class first thing in the morning, which was fine because then we came back and breakfast at the inn doesn't start until like 9 in the morning. So we all came back.
What? It's like the opposite of a actual hotel. Like breakfast is only from 5:30 to 6. Get out here, losers.
Like this was definitely like we'll have, and they would do different seatings for different guests. So if you needed to leave early, they would try and do something earlier or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they were like, well, standard is 9:00, and they had this big 12-seat dining table, and which was perfect for us.
I mean, yeah, that's like,
and we took up almost the entirety of the inn, and so we just hung out in the massive living room and had the big dining room, and there was a library off to the side that we could go to, and just like hung out. And that second day, we all kind of went around and talked about our 5 things that we were working on, and then we presented the one that we really wanted help with, and then the entirety of the group gave advice, shared experiences, a ton of resources were shared, and that's like all we did the second day. Like it lasted hours. Like I think we did like 6 hours of that. Going person by person. Went out to dinner. Then the next day we woke up and we did okay, you've identified your problems. You have some idea and input. The morning we're going to spend the last morning writing out our plan of what we want the next week, month, and 6 months to look like, and like putting an action step. And then Megan put together a Facebook group, and we're doing some accountability check-ins along the way. And everybody was like, when are you doing this next? Are you going to travel and do these around the country? You need to charge more. And
well, there goes my follow-up question of how was it received by the participants?
Yeah.
I take it was well. Yeah, so there we go. Check, really, mark that one.
And I'm sure, and part of this too, like it was very not like Megan and I focused because we were actively participating as well. Like we were doing exercises and stuff. I was just the one telling people like, okay, this is the next step.
Facilitating,
which made it really great because then like the pressure was off of me. Like
that's true because you could just kind of steer it in whichever direction was like coming up, right? Like, oh, that's good. We should spend some time there, and okay, we should
whatever
do this,
people
right?
were needing, we could just kind of sit in that for some time. And then I wasn't the one having to be like, oh, here's the book you need to read for that, or here's the podcast you need to do, or here's the training you need to do.
That's true. Other people were like, yo, I read this thing and it's great. Like,
yes. And so it was like, all I have to do is make sure this all gets captured, and we're going to share this out so everybody can have access to this later. And that was my job. And just listening to people. And I had some prompting questions or some things where I was writing down stuff. And, and if nobody touched on it, I would bring up a point to kind of foster some more discussion.
Make sure it wasn't forgotten, or like, exactly. Oh, hey, we didn't touch on this aspect very much, or,
Yes. Or, that everyone was kind of honing in on this one particular thing. And I'd be like, well, when you first started, you said this word, and what does that mean to you? And like that kind of thing. And so, like, that was steering. Huzzah. Like, that's all I did. And it was beautiful. It was really cool. And I'm sure some people probably got a lot more out of it. Some people were like, like you could definitely tell who clicked together. Of like, immediately someone was like, you could tell, okay, these 3 people, they all have over 20 employees. They're talking to one another, right?
Yeah, because they're in a similar like situation, right? Like,
this solo person and this person who just hired, they're talking to one another. And it just kind of organically happened where they would go sit next to each other at dinner, and we're tossing ideas back and forth, and they were doing this other stuff. So, people got out of it whatever they put into it. Everyone was like, the feedback. So then, of course, we put together a feedback form.
Obviously,
it's for them to fill out a survey, and all the responses were basically like, "Do this again, make it longer," and they wanted more of a community building aspect of like, someone was like, "Can we volunteer at a local shelter?" Or someone wanted us to like all go cook food together. And I was like, no, I'm not, we're not cooking together. No, thank you. No, thank you. It'd be,
but I mean, I can see where they would want like especially at the beginning, like that team building aspect, like build trust and like in that environment maybe, but like, or maybe like the very end, do some kind of like project or something, but that seems.
Well, and that's why I'm glad we had the yoga thing that we could all go do together.
True.
And like have fun and laugh and, and experience. That I feel like that was good. They also really liked the location and the fact that we didn't have to leave the premise. We were.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It was a small, like self-contained area,
and it was a 10-minute walk to downtown restaurant and everything else.
Always a bonus.
And so
close food.
They were like, how, we need to like try and do that again. And I was like, oh my gosh, like there was so much work going into finding this exact location and like making sure it had enough room for us. Because a lot of bed and breakfasts are like, we have 4 rooms.
Yeah, right. They're very small.
And I'm like, I need like 12. Which
you're gonna get the next. Okay, here we go. Here's my prediction. 3 years. It's gonna be one of those places that has like yurt campgrounds, right? It was like with like a community hall, right? Like
yes, pretty much. Somebody did say, "Can we go camping?" And I was like, "No, that is right out. It is right out." No.
What if it was one of those places that had like, instead of like tents, it was like the little like cabins or lodges or whatever? You know what I mean? Like that would be, that environment would probably be more suitable, right? Because then there'd be like 20 individual cabins, and you could have like, bathrooms and stuff. You probably couldn't walk to downtown restaurants. That would be a problem. You'd have to like grill or something. But
yeah, that was the other thing. If I was just like, I don't know how I would, manage this. But then the other part that I was really interesting thought was that I wanted to do was the purpose of the workbook that I put together was for a personal retreat. And we were doing this all collectively.
Yeah.
And so all along I kept telling them, this workbook you can do again and again and again, like by yourself. Like this
you don't need to be here.
You don't need to be here. Use this as a time to like invest in other people and help and get other people's, like people were exchanging phone numbers and all sorts of stuff. And it was like, yes, like use us as a testing ground. Like somebody was like, I'm writing a book. And we were like, send us all drafts. Like we'll give you comments and edits and stuff. And like, that's what we're trying to do with this. And so kind of some of the stuff that they said, like, a lot of people were like, I've never done anything like this before. I want to do this. I want to do this by myself again. And everyone liked, like, they were basically like, don't invite any more people than like 10. Like, this is,
keep it small. Yeah.
Keep it small. Don't do any more.
Yeah, that's true. Cause like, then you don't have those like times to just all be together. You know what I mean?
Yes. Because it's hard to have touch points with 50 people.
Oh yeah.
And I want to make sure that people are focused on one another and learning about their businesses. And
yeah.
So I think we're gonna, people, I'm shocked because we were so light on details which actually happened. We were just like, come have a weekend of big ideas and community and like, whatever. And
but now that you've done one, now you know like what to tell people. Like you can give people a little bit more about what to expect, because thing is that you yourself didn't exactly know what to expect. Now you have a slightly better idea, right? You have some more points to be like, hey, this is possible, right? Not going to, but it's possible to happen, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the people that showed up, and they gave us some very good responses. They were like, look, one lady was like, look, you got 8 people to show up having no idea what was going on.
True.
And she was like, and everybody's walking away from this saying, do more, do it again. And I think that there's a way to start doing different varieties of these. Of like, one feedback that we got from somebody was like, you could have different tiers of one kind of retreat focused on early stage businesses, and then like a higher level, more like resource intensive one for later people. But honestly, I like having the people
them all kind of mixed together, right?
Yes, like the conversation between the lady who started her business, she went full time a year ago, and the people who have been in it for like 15 years.
I mean, that's an important person to talk to you. Like, how do I get to where you are? Right. Do you know what I mean? That's an important aspect of this kind of like small, intimate environment that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh. So, yeah.
So there was like the one hiccup was because I had no idea how much time any of this would take. Like, I legitimately, like, one person responded was like, I was a little worried about when I looked at the agenda that it was going to be too light on substance or topic. And Megan was too. Megan's initial comments was like, you only have 5 bullet points here for the entire weekend. And I was like, no, I know.
It's fine.
And we were really living on the fly of like, what do we do? Like, just for an example, like, I show up and I'm like, the first exercise is to write out all of your hats that you wear. That's how I phrase it, right? Like, where are your responsibilities in life? Because what we do then is we dive into each one of those and ask questions of, am I being excellent in this? And so I just had this idea of like, oh, like, we're all writing stuff down. I have a flipboard. Let me tear off a page and put it on a wall. And I had brought different colored pens. And so I was like, everybody write the ones that you wrote down on the board. And if somebody already wrote down yours, put a tick mark by it. And then this also was helpful because then I was like, oh, I can see who wrote down what, so I can ask good follow-up questions to them about that. And I gave everybody a different color so that it was all color coordinated.
True.
And so I go, oh, Michelle, you wrote down cheerleader. Why? Right. And so it had a great discussion that way of like, and I didn't plan that before. Like, I had no idea.
It's fine. You gotta, I have this happen to me, right? Like, it's a function of how you work best, right? Like, so some people are really like, they plan out everything like way in advance, right? And they like meticulously map out how things are going. But I cannot do that.
Yeah.
I've tried before. It does not. I can't. get my brain to focus and like think that way. But whenever it's like happening, I'm like, I have a great idea right now. Go, blah. Like
that's exactly.
It's so bad sometimes. It's like trying to harness that is problematic because you're right. Because it's like, oh well, I'll just make it up as I go. Blah. But like,
and how
my whole first year of teaching. Wait, hold on, I have this idea.
Yeah, and like this, and then after like at the end of the first day, Megan was like, "Okay, great. What's the second day like?" And I was like, that's a really also good question.
I don't know.
But what we were able to do was go, okay, like we focused on 5 things. I don't feel like we're going to be able to dive into 5 things for each person. So we need to challenge them to pick one thing they want to present to the group. And
yeah.
Like really now you've got to refine it even more and present and talk. And I know that one thing that I can do better next time is plan the second day better, because we got up in the morning and I did ask the inn if they could make us some go bags first thing in the morning, so that if people wanted to grab a fruit or some yogurt or whatever, some granola as we walked to yoga, we could. If people
yeah.
Okay. Then we came back from yoga and we ate around 9:30 and we were done by say 10:30. Okay. We were done eating by 10:30. Obviously we're not going to stop for lunch, right?
I mean, yeah, because it's like,
but then,
unless lunch is at like 2,
right? But then we're gonna got like I was worried, and everybody agreed with this. Like we didn't do a whole lot, but we were all exhausted by 5, like because we went from 11 straight to 5:30, just straight through. It doesn't make for the best day, but we would have 2 people. I was like, oh, okay, like I see how this is going. 2 people are going to present, then we're going to take a 15-minute break to get up. Walk around. 2 more people are going to present, then we're going to have a break. And we kind of did that. And that seriously took us all the way to 5:30. And I had, because I didn't know how the second day was going to go, I didn't make any dinner reservations for, right? And it's a Saturday night at 5:30.
Oh no.
And then we had to do the decision-making process of like, where do we eat? And then like, because the first night I made a reservation at like the most like generic of broad places.
Yeah.
To try and capture everybody. And then all of a sudden the second night is when people were like, oh, well, I'm actually gluten intolerant, or I'm vegan, or I have a dairy allergy, or I have this, or I'm this. And then it was like, then we just had to spend 20 minutes doing this. And then like, I know I'm looking at going, I can improve that. Like next time I can already have like 2 or 3 dinner options selected that we can right, instead of being like, I don't know, Google it is basically what
that's true. Free for all. So, dinner, or the old classic, dinner on your own, see you later.
And I didn't want to do that. Like I wanted
no, because that kind of kills the whole point of the right. Like
yeah, and people did comment about how much they loved walking to places, because it provided a release of like de-stressing and coming down from things, and like, okay, like I can separate as I walk, and we have more conversation. Like literally we never stopped talking. Like that's the one thing that I really liked about this is like, you wake up in the morning, everybody's up at the same time. We all go down for, at the same time. We talk, we went to yoga, we talked, we came back talking, we sat at breakfast, we talked, we went into the exercise and we talked, and like all of this stuff is like, it was really good. I think capturing that a little bit more as far as like notes and resources can be improved on. The other thing I know I want to do better on is helping people. I've got to figure out, how do I prepare them better to sit in silence and work, because it's awkward. It's like the first day we all showed up at 2:00 and I was like, hey, thanks for being here. Here's the plan.
Go sit in the corner.
Pretty much. Like what I did was I asked everybody to go around in the room and explain why they came here and what they were wanting out of it. And I wrote all this down. And then I gave them a brief overview of everything that we were going to do, what the plan for the weekend was, which kind of changed later, but fine. And then I was like, well, the first exercise
tentative plan for the weekend.
Yeah. The first exercise is sit and quietly think to yourself and write down these 5 things. Like, that's it. And
that's true. That's a bit of a odd timing situation, right? Like,
it was a hard transition. And you could see people were like, oh, so I'm just going to sit. Now, the second day, the third day, people were like, oh, I got this. Like, I can sit in a room with 12 other people and just be quiet. Like, I can.
Yeah. But the first day is hard because you want to, like, it's a new environment and that's kind of weird, right? Like,
but what also made it nice is we had beautiful weather. So it was like, hey, they have a massive courtyard.
Go outside,
Go lay in the grass. Go sit at the picnic table. Go to the library. Go to the living room. Go up to your room, right? Like, you can go find space. And then somebody said, they were very kind. They said, I never felt hurried. And I could do my necessary thinking because I never felt like we had to be somewhere else. And I was like, oh, good. Like, I'm so glad.
A function of all being in one room.
Yes, right.
You don't have to go anywhere because you're already here.
Well, and at a conference, like, you've got 5 minutes to go to the next thing, and then you got to go to the next thing, and then there's the thing, and there's the dinner thing, and there's the game, and then there's blah, and there's a social hour, and you never stop moving. And so they liked the conversation space and the walking and the time, but people were like, a longer retreat. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like, no, hold on, we're gonna no, not yet.
Well,
do a couple short ones first before you how to expand this, right?
Before I go into a week-long thing.
Yeah.
But then again, you think if you add one more group activity, you've lost a whole day.
I mean, that's, or most of a day, yeah.
Yeah, because, we, like, for the yoga, like, we got up, we got there, we started at 7:45, we got back to the house by 9, people went up to shower and refresh, came down for breakfast at 9:30, we breakfast until 10:30, we worked. If we would have had another activity that afternoon, like, we would have only gotten in 2-3 hours of work before we would have had to go to the event,
true,
come back, shower, I'm planning in people's showers time now, and then go to dinner, and then, like, that would have been the day. So, like, okay, maybe we do 4 days anyway. So there's a lot that we go in here, but they all the feedback was good. They really liked the deep dive into, like, very specific questions that people had. It got down to like there's a particular software that literally everybody there used in their business, and so over dinner, people at dinner were like, how do I do this one thing? And 4 people would be like, oh, well, this is how I solve that, and this is how I solve that, and this is how I solve that. And then someone was like, oh, well, you can just do this toggle. And it was like so many ideas came from this where I was like, oh my gosh, like, there needs to be a software workshop where you bring questions for your software, and I could bring together the 5 biggest software companies to answer those questions and all this stuff. So there's just a lot that came out of it.
That's good. Yeah. I'm glad it went well.
Yeah. It was so exhausting. I can't even. I'm looking at all my notes and thinking back.
Oh yes, no, I understand how exhausting things like that are. When you are, like, doing, like, a maximum mental capacity for multiple hours at a time, you come home and this is like my teaching life, right? So you come home and you're like, I didn't, like, do anything today, but I am dead. Like, I can't, like, it's a different kind of tired, right? Like, this, like, just drained exhaustion, like, feeling. It's weird, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I have this all the time. So
yeah. So we'll see what happens. I do have plans, but part of this too was, Megan and I drove an hour and 20 minutes to get there. That we were beat by the person who lived in the city who had a 10-minute drive. Everybody else had multi-hour flights and layovers and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And on one hand, I feel bad for them because a goal of mine is to make this as accessible to the most people as possible. I also have to balance out that with realistically,
accessible to you.
What
right?
That's what able to commit to.
Yeah, right. That's a
yes. What can I commit to and invest in?
Yeah, that's important. Don't sell yourself short on that, because like
I do not think I would be able to plan this event and have anything in me if I had to fly to, I don't know, Georgia or Pennsylvania or California. Like, I cannot commit.
Well, the good thing about Missouri is it's basically like the middle of the country.
I know.
So like, it's pretty centrally. You're not going to get more centrally located than Kansas City, Missouri, right? Like it's right there.
This is what I was thinking. Do we just turn this into the annual Kansas City thing?
I mean, yeah, right? Like, because you could just like, it's not
like, I'm saying it's equidistant from everybody in the United States.
Yeah, pretty much, right? It's like it's not Kansas City, Missouri is not very far from the like geographical center of the contiguous 48 states. So
it's a massive city. I like it more than St. Louis. Okay.
I mean, I think everybody likes it more than St. Louis. Let's be real. Everybody in Missouri likes St. Louis sports teams more. Well, not now that the Chiefs are winning. Everyone's remembered that the Chiefs, everyone like in the world that's never liked football, Missouri's like, no, I love the Chiefs. Like, bro, stop lying. Get out of here. But, so, sorry, different tangent for a different time. Yes. But, I think a lot of people would agree with you that Kansas City is better.
and from the international airport, 30 minutes, a 30-minute Uber, you get anywhere in town.
Yeah.
Really. And so I really do think, as far as like accessibility,
I think, you're not really getting.
I have a hard time.
More accessible than that, right?
More accessible than that. And because people were like, oh, what if we did more remote or more, more natural setting? And I'm going, yeah, but you can't get there. I'm not shuttling you. Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, but this is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, right? Like, Kansas City is weird. Well, like lots of Midwest cities, is that if you drive 30 minutes away, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Right? Like,
yeah. As is a custom in the Midwest.
Yeah. You're just like, if you just sort of drive a bit, you're not in the city anymore. And it's like the plains of northern Missouri. It's like not exactly the most exciting place in the world, but like,
hey,
it's remote, right? It's just field.
Well, and if you but actually north of Kansas City, you get into some really beautiful parts along the Missouri River.
That's true. The Missouri River's there, so it's a little more scenic, right?
Yeah,
it's a little than like glacial till plains.
Yeah.
Like,
well, if you go northeast is when you get to Iowa, right? And you're like, no, thank you. No offense, but like, there's real diversity there, and so I could do one where it's like, okay, this year we're camping. That's going to attract a subset of people. This year we're in downtown in a high rise. That's the subset. Like,
but it's still within 30 minutes of everything is 30 minutes away from Kansas City.
It takes me an hour to get there. Like, where all of a sudden I'm like, I think instead of trying to go to different places, that this will be best if we plan it in our backyard.
I mean, yeah. Because like you said, you have your own business and family needs to take consideration, and you have to commit yourself to that. Yeah. But also, like, the diversity of scenarios and like situations and locations that are not very far away from you are also staggering. So, like,
yes,
you could be in one of those like bed and breakfasts, it's like a literal barn one year in the middle of nowhere, but it's actually only like 35 minutes away from Kansas.
I mean, this one technically we were in Independence.
So like it's not.
It's like 10 minutes down. We could be in like the heart of Kansas City.
Yeah, but 10 minutes the other way, and you're in a field.
And you're literally
that's.
So
you are. That's how it works. It's so bizarre.
So I'm having a hard time convincing myself of traveling to do this. To go like, the more I talk about it and think about it, the more I realize this needs to be we host it in Kansas City. Like it's the Kansas City retreat. Or someplace
nearby
vicinity nearby.
Yes.
Like
in the Kansas City regional area.
Yeah, because what I realized is a lot of people. Here's the other thing: is where do all like big conferences and stuff go? They go to big cities, which tend to be coastal, and so Midwest gets cut out a lot of those. Or they'll jump up to like Cleveland and they'll go there. So it's like
Kansas City has stuff in it.
Or Chicago. It's like
that's true. They have Chicago, right?
Yeah. Like, but nobody's like. So I kind of like the idea of also because I'm proud of Midwest for a lot of things. I think it does a lot of has a lot to offer, and I kind of like showing it off to people who haven't spent appreciable time here. And so I kind of think that that's an aspect too of part of the retreat is getting out of your comfort zone into an unfamiliar place. And who knows, maybe there's a way in the future where we could branch off. And I do have the secret long-term plan of packaging these in a way that other people can host them locally.
True.
So that I don't have to. But like we can work with people to put them on for themselves. Like
be involved in the planning process, but like,
and we help the planning, and they like buy a package from us, and it includes the books and includes all the stuff and the how to. But they're the ones doing it.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
And I think that would also have a better local flavor and help anyway. And then people who are interested in hosting can host anyway. So there's that plan. So I think we'll probably keep it in Missouri next year. I do like secretly want to take it to Springfield, but I think that's a bit of a stretch for
that's true.
Like flying
less
into their
airport.
Uber cost.
It's true.
So
more connecting flights.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Overall, that's where it landed. With the takeaway, and we wanted to help cover some costs. So here's a breakdown for you. We ended up charging. My original goal was to make it free, but then when
not really the best business strategy, right? Like,
well, and also there is something to people commit to what they pay to. And so
exactly.
I didn't want people to just say they were going to attend because it was free, and then me plan for all.
And
this
then no
stuff.
one come. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a problem.
Yes.
That's a big problem.
Nobody actually show up, or the day of, they're like, "Ooh, can't." So we ended up charging $40 to attend. And
you definitely need to charge more.
Yeah, and that's what literally everybody said. They were like, "What are you doing? Like, are you?"
Like, listen, this is the pilot program, okay? We didn't want to.
That's what I told them.
You're secretly my guinea pigs. I've never done this before.
They all knew that. They were well aware. And so they were like, "You need to charge more." And so I'm stuck on what that looks like.
Did you ask the follow question of, okay, so like how much more? Like what?
So that actually should have been a thing, but then I was like, I kind of like. So here's my current concept moving forward, because this is just how I am. I hate asking people for money and doing stuff up front. So there'll be a nominal fee to attend. But then after the fact, there will be a follow-up email that goes out where they can pay for the benefit they received out of it. Kind of like a pay for what you want at a restaurant, only you get to get it first.
Or like what is it when you do that? It's like there's a scenario that happens in my brain and I can't retrieve it from the vault here. Like,
well, it's called value for value. So like, and I've only ever encountered this at like a restaurant with no prices, and they just said, pay for what you feel like the meal was worth to you. And so some people pay a lot. Some people pay nothing. Everybody pays something, but at least we would have like the door fee, basically, some money. And then, because what I don't want is to have this, like, because I know there's a coach that reached out to us and was like, you need to charge $1,000 for this and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to have charge somebody $1,000.
Makes it very inaccessible, right?
Yeah,
like
it's both inaccessible, and what kind of expectations do you set for a weekend that costs $1,000?
Very high. Very big.
Very big. I don't want that pressure on myself. Now,
fair.
No, thank you. But if somebody got, $100 value out of it, well, here's an opportunity for you to give back, or what I don't know how I'd phrase it, but
yeah. Yeah, this is a thing that I can't remember the scenario in which this has come up in my life. But the thing where you just pay. It's like charity dinners, right? Whatever. It's like, oh, it's free, but then you pay whatever this is, or like some like charity shops are like that, right? Like, oh yeah, it costs this, but if you want to donate, right? Wink, like. Yeah, I don't know how you phrase that to make it not like cringeworthy, but
yes, this is what
or like desperate, like
yeah, because I don't, I'm sure,
but at least maybe charge like $50, right?
Yeah,
60 maybe. Like,
excuse me. Because then we also did, we got them all gifts, and I think that was just like a hedge on my part of like, if anything goes wrong, at least like they will have a present from me, and hopefully it will make it all better. Like if this just crashes and burns,
they'll have this lovely hat. Okay.
I will give them a gift. And so what we did, I'm actually really proud of this. When you go to a conference, when you go someplace, you get a swag bag. What's the swag bag?
It's usually full of stuff that I throw in the trash.
It is, and for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, because stuff I already have better versions of, or things I never wanted to begin
with. Or
but as we have determined on this show many times, I am not the target audience for conferences. So like that, I'm an outlier in this particular situation.
No, but I know when we would go did conferences, you get all of the branded items from the conference. Right. And like it's branded with the mugs of the sponsors, and it's
like like the logos.
Yeah.
And just like trashy pins and like
yes, what do the pins have on them?
Paper or whatever.
The name of the conference or like whatever. Right. All this stuff.
A lanyard.
So what we did is we went out and we found a way to get these really neat, really good, insulated water bottles that then I went out and pulled all of their own company logos and had their company logo put on the water bottle.
Oh, nice.
And
that is definitely something you can only do with a conference with 10 people in it. Yes. So that's
yes. And it was fascinating watching people's eyes light up because, they have the logo, but then their company buys like shirts or stuff. But like this was a gift of like, because I want people to use this. I don't want them to go home and throw it away. Like I want them to,
like me.
Like me. Yeah, exactly. Good job. We also bought a book that we've heard really good things about, and I actually read beforehand. And then this was actually somebody else's idea, and I was like, oh, this is genuinely good, because Megan and I went back and forth on, do we give them an Audible credit for the book? Do we buy the audio book for them,
or the book
or the physical book?
Yes.
And we went round and round on this, and I'm still not 100% sure on this, but here's the beautiful thing that happened. We bought the physical book, and we like the physicality of this. And here's the other thing that it did. One of the people who were attended when they got the book, and I explained what it was and how like what we did this weekend was all about building resiliency and anti-fragile things in life, and how we are making our businesses better by being in community. She stopped and she said, "Can we all sign this?"
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And so, like a yearbook, I said, absolutely, grab a pen. We all stood up, stepped to the right, and everybody wrote something. And it turned into everybody writing their impression of that person from that weekend.
Interesting.
I have not seen so many grown adults unexpectedly cry in a long time, because like this weekend was emotional. It was long. There was a lot going on, and people don't do a lot of self-reflection. And they read 9 other people's responses about how impressed they were with their work, how much they appreciated their input, how much they wish them luck on everything. Like all those comments. Like I was even like, whoo, like that was totally unexpected, and I absolutely loved it. Of just like it was a pure like she was like, we need to sign these. And I'm sure some people were like, oh, great, I can't sell this book now. Because some people aren't readers. But I was just like, hopefully this will be a memory for them, at least a reminder of something they did. And yeah, I don't know.
They can just put it on their shelf at their office or whatever. And...
Yeah. And I was like, that's really cool. Okay, I'm glad we got the book. I know not everybody will read it, which is fine. But I was like, that was kind of worth it to have that opportunity as a
that's good
mini yearbook.
That's true. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to not ruminate too much on the fact that you just said the word anti-fragile, and I'm like, that's weird sentence. But all right, I was like,
well, actually, that's the name of the book, and that's the whole.
Oh, okay, I was like,
that's the whole premise of this book, and I don't agree with the author on 100% of things he said, but that's fine. Basically, he starts the book by asking the question, "What's the opposite of fragile?"
I mean, it's fair. But like, you would say something like sturdy, robust, resilient, not anti-fragile.
No, because what are the properties of something that's fragile?
Breaks.
It breaks.
Yeah,
something that's sturdy, it just doesn't break.
Yeah.
And the aspect of fragility isn't an aspect of getting weaker and more likely to break the next time. What is the thing that gets stronger after repetitive stress? And so he landed on the word anti-fragile. And
yeah, I don't like it.
It sounds weird. No, nobody likes it.
Not sold on that.
I kind of agree. It's like the best we have, because everything else is just like, it's more robust. Well, that just means it's less likely to break next time. It's not stronger. It's not like, then it was like, okay, well, maybe resilient. But that doesn't quite get to the aspect of it either. Because like when you mail glass, you put fragile on it. What would you put on a box that would say this will be stronger at the end of this thing through UPS? Like I don't know. And then he breaks down like economically, what does anti-fragility look like? Biologically, what does it look like? In communities, what does it look like? And in all these different aspects. And it's not really so much of a business book as just a purview through all these different categories of what it means to do, and pointing out examples of that over time. And I think as I read it, and I don't know if anybody else, I constantly think of like, what does this mean for me? Like, how do I do that? Like, I don't, whatever. Like, so, and I was also really stressing out because I knew that one of the attendants there is literally a walking encyclopedia of business books. She reads more than I think any other person that I am aware of that like reads, of like not just like, she doesn't read a whole lot of like self-improvement books. She reads everything. Like she's an insatiable reader. She does it all through Audible constantly. She read 3 books as she was traveling to this thing. Like that's the kind of person that she.
Good night. That's ridiculous.
So I'm sitting here going like, the last thing I want to do is gift a book and have somebody say, "Oh, I've read this." Like, no,
like, yeah, but that's always a problem with books, right? You can't.
Yeah. So
there's like literally 7 billions of them made every day, but like somebody's already read it.
Somebody. This actually. So when we did the open house for the kids, Lillian was in the classroom for a teacher, and she had this massive bookshelf, and the teacher was talking about how so excited she was be reading this year, and all this stuff, and she like reached up and she's like, and I can't wait to read you this series. It's only 4 books from the series, but we're going to read the first one together, and then you can read the other 3 later. And Lily turns to me, Dad, those are the Boxcar Children. I've already read those. And the teacher goes, oh, well, I'm sure you would like this story. And she pulls it down. And Lily turns to me and goes, I've already read all the Dooney B. Jones books, Dad.
That's true. Yeah, gosh.
Yeah,
there's like 70 of those books.
There's 20 in like the first like run through. Like all the most popular ones that kind of go through the end. But yeah, and seriously, the month before school began, Lillian said, I'm going to read one of these a day. And she did. So, and she's like tore through like a Magic Treehouse and all this stuff. So the teacher looked at me and was like, oh, she's a reader then, I guess. I said, we love the library.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't even know.
So yeah, I didn't want that to happen. I managed to pull it off, and I was like, this is never happening again.
True. Like,
because there were some easy, because I wanted to gift a book, because I do think reading is important, and not enough people read. So, did you know that something like 70% of adults do not read another book after they graduate high school? Like,
I wasn't aware of the exact statistic. I knew it was going to be big, but that number hurt me on an emotional level, just like deeply right now.
Marry another book.
Sitting here staring at my TBR pile that's like 20 books deep. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
I know. Maybe very sad. I think it's important.
I also have the problem of a little side note. Here's a little insight onto the topic of next week's show. I'm currently reading 3 books at a time right now. So like we're gonna
yes.
I have some. I just remember that something that I did this week that I will bring up next time. But
okay, cool.
Anyway,
yeah. Sorry to hog. So I was just
no worries.
And there's all these like really, really popular books that are very beneficial, but literally everybody recommends them. Everybody.
Yeah.
And you talk to anybody who's like in the business world or a coach or like even just like people who are tangentially related.
Tangentially?
Tangentially? Yeah.
Tangentially.
Tangentially?
Because it's tangent. So tangentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it one time. I said it correctly, so there's and then where they're like, oh, I've heard this is a good book or like blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I need to cut through all that. No shocker here. I spent probably a month.
That is true.
Figure out like the book that we were going to send home to people.
This is unsurprising news. Like,
so yet again, all the more reason for us to keep it an hour away from my house so I can actually do but yeah, it was
that's great.
It was a good weekend. We'll do it again. I have to figure out where. But yeah,
I'm glad it was successful. I know it was like a big, like, bit random, and you were unsure about like, okay, well, here we go.
Nope, and I absolutely appreciate your and Susan's review of said booklet. And
she's the professional here. It's
and everything. And I don't know if I told you, but I did end up. The original booklet was like almost 50 pages or something.
Yes,
which is a lot. I stripped out, like, I took the book and I basically just cut it in half, and all the preamble stuff I just set as pre-generated like automatic emails to go out at set time intervals.
That's a very wise decision, I think, you made there.
So that, like, because all that stuff I realized was like, oh, this is all really important for them to know, like,
before they get here.
Right? Like, this is all prep work. Like, I need to do something different. So it also helped me to like, okay, I know I've got an email coming out next week. Let me add some more detail to it, or update them on arrival, or update them on like location and stuff. So it helped me stay on track too of like, this email is going out, going to be beneficial to them, but I can also add retreat updates to it as needed, or just let it go out.
That's a good point. That's probably a good move, right? Plus, it's less intimidating, like less daunting, right? Anti-daunting, right? Maybe that's the thing. Of them to for them to have not like to arrive at a retreat and then immediately be presented with like a massive tome to go through, right? So if they've already had some preamble and then they get like just the stripped down like workbooky version, it's like much smaller, much less intimidating. That's probably just a better experience for the attendee.
Yeah,
in general,
and it's cheaper to print, right? Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Other things I learned were very expensive. Flip charts, like the big, like where you just flip them over, or you can tear them off and they're sticky on the back, like a big.
Oh yeah, yes, I know. I'm aware. These are things. These are a premium in a school environment, right? These things are like guarded with your life.
$50 a piece.
Yeah. Imagine how many of those you go through in a year, in like the lower elementary.
Oh,
like 1 billion, right?
These are insane. Like I was like, so truthfully, we only use like 5 pieces of paper, which is fine. But again, I didn't know how many we were going through, and maybe next time we go through more.
And the ones with the sticky, like the Post-it note thing on the back, right, are like the premium ones anyway.
Yes.
Like you can get like the spiral bound, like the ones that are like top spiral. You can probably get those for like $20, right? But they're not as like good.
Well, they're just like, you have to have a what for them?
You have to have a stand for them, right? Which I have 2 command hooks on my wall. That I just permanent attached to the wall. But the stand is the most common. Like it makes it slightly less usable. Like you have to like take it down and like flip it over and then like do your thing. Like,
sure.
So yeah, if you do it the other way, you have to have this big awkward easel thing, right? That is not super wieldy, right? It just takes up a lot of space and it's in the way.
Yep. And I didn't know the layout of the room, and I was like,
true.
I just wanted these, and I did. I just tore them off and like stuck them to the wall and like a door, and like, just had them around the room that we were in. I was like, done. We have a board.
Yeah.
And so I was like Megan was like, how much are these? And I was like,
yeah, they're stupid.
I had no idea they were this much. I had no idea.
Yeah.
We used them I used them like candy when I was at the Department of Conservation. Like those were our jam in meetings. Like I would so many, but I never bought them.
They're
they
expensive and ridiculous.
So
this is why I have command strips that I attach to clothespins and I stick them on the wall. So I have like the cheap paper that is like it's like the legal pad version, right? So it's like really not great paper, and you can't like flip it over because it just like disintegrates and rips itself off.
Yeah.
So I just write on it and then like tear it off, and then I stick it on the wall if I need it for something. I'm like, oh hey, here's something important we're gonna do. Bam, and I throw it up on my little hooks.
No, I like that.
Or just tape it directly to the wall. That's what I did with my, because I have the same anchor chart as the language arts teacher about like written responses. You know, how to write a good response for the question, you know, like restating your answer, providing evidence, those like reminders. I just copied hers and put it in my room so that they're practicing the same skill over and over again. But I just taped that thing to the wall. Boom. Like I didn't even care.
Yeah, and I wanted something that I could move, that we could set up and take.
Yeah, in a conference situation, you can't, like, you have to have it be mobile and throw it up there. So
yeah,
it is the best thing, but they are stupidly priced. It's ridiculous.
Well, I've got 2 of them, and if these go bad before next year, I'm going to be really angry.
Yeah, keep them away from the children. Like, hide them. Hide them up in the attic, right? Like, don't.
Yeah. So lots to improve, but I was super excited to see how it went down. We'll do it again.
I'm glad it went well. Hooray!
Thanks. So, got my updates.
Nice. All right. I'll leave you the preview of the rant
preview.
that I have planned for next episode. It does have to do with books, right? Conveniently, we have a bit of a segue between episodes. Look at that. 2 episodes related without even trying. When you were talking about everybody always recommends the same books, right? And it's just a lot of samesies, and it's really weird and annoying in the business book world.
Yeah.
Well, because I have been Googling more mystery novels to buy, right? Google recognized that and started recommending to me these like videos of book reviewers on YouTube. So I have been watching some of the like quote booktube stuff, and it's weird.
Okay.
And it's confusing, and I have thoughts. And so
thoughts on booktube.
Oh man, it's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. So there's your stinger for next time. Tune in next time for Brandon's thoughts about booktube and how it's weird. And weird. Okay. So there you go.
I will come buckled and ready to go.
Right.
Yes.
Be ready.
Okay. Hopefully next time I'm recording from an office with like computer and internet, and we'll see.
We're not going to hold our breath. We're going to
not. I hope.
Pack the laptop this time. That's what you guys.
Step one.
Then
I have to wait for T-Mobile to send the internet thingy to me.
Oh, yeah.
Go. So, nice.
All right.
Look forward to that. Booktube.
Okay.
And we'll wrap that.
Okay.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.